Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm talking all about the best neutral, natural, everyday makeup products to add to your collection. So these are things that I rely on an everyday basis. These are things that I reach for when I just want a really basic look. You could call it boring, but these are very neutral tones that are going to suit everyone. They're makeup products that I reach for when I don't want to really stand out, when I don't want my makeup to be obvious, when I want my makeup to just be really natural looking, to just be really kind of like a natural glam look where you don't want your makeup to take over the conversation or to take over the room. You just want to be subtle and put together and still look really naturally pretty. So these are all very neutral tones. These are things that I reach for on an everyday basis that are perfect for any occasion, any situation. You could wear them for brunch, you could wear them for dinner, or a glam event evening time, because they're just those perfect neutral products that will look good for any event. So I'm going to start out with the face, and I'm actually going to be talking about a foundation. Now, a foundation isn't necessarily like a neutral product, but I think there's a perfect, I want to say like every occasion foundation that I can rely on for anything. So I could wear it during the day just running errands. I could wear it to work. I could also wear it for an evening event. And I can feel put together and beautiful in each of those occasions. But my makeup's never going to look underdone. It's never going to look over the top either. So the foundation that I reach for in those events is the Dior Super Potent Serum Foundation. I wear the shade 3N. I probably could do a 2N now that I'm not really self-tanning as much. But this foundation is the one that I chose to mention because it is just such a perfect, I want to say like Goldilocks foundation. It's not too full coverage, but it's not too light coverage. It's a perfect medium coverage, and it's also not too glowy and it's not too matte. It's that perfect velvet finish. So it gives me like a very soft focus effect glow, and it's just so beautiful. It's a very blurring foundation, very perfecting without looking makeup-y on the skin. It never looks cakey, but it is buildable to that medium coverage. But you can go in with one light layer and get a very soft, light coverage look as well. This is just such a gorgeous foundation. It's something that I rely on all the time. Again, for any occasion when I'm unsure of maybe what's going on during the day, or maybe I will have to go out later on at some point, I can rely on this foundation to just look good for those any occasions. And it's going to be a very long-lasting foundation as well. For me, this lasts all day long without needing to touch up. If you have oilier skin, you might need to, but this is just hands down my best basic foundation. I also wanted to mention a bronzer, and now it's really hard to say that there's like that perfect neutral bronzer for everyone. Like there. And I wanted to mention a bronzer as well. Now, bronzer is something, again, it's going to be different. Your perfect neutral bronzer that's good for your personal skin tone is going to be so different for every person because we all have different skin tones. We all have different undertones as well. But I thought I would just mention a good all-rounder, and that is this Guerlain Healthy Glow Light. This is, okay, it has a very long name. The Sunkissed Healthy Glow Powder. My shade is in the shade 03 Medium Warm, and I decided to mention this one because Guerlain is very fantastic at having such a variety of undertones and shades in their bronzers. A lot of times when I see bronzer releases, they're releasing like 1 to 3. Sometimes we have a nice shade range where we'll get like 6, but even so, that's not enough when there's so many different undertones to people's skin and then so many different depths of colors to people's skin. Someone can have a deep complexion that's cool tone, but someone can also be a deeper complexion and have a warmer tone. Guerlain has laid out their bronzers perfectly where they have it set up like light, light medium, dark, and then they have the undertones, so you can choose a cool tone or a warmer tone. So I just feel like this is such a great option if you're looking for a perfect neutral tone for you. You can go and look at these bronzers and determine what will be the perfect choice. So when I'm trying to choose a bronzer with that neutral tone that's going to be great for any occasion, it's going to be just a little bit deeper than my chest. So it's going to blend in harmony with my skin, and it's just going to make me look like I have a little bit of sun-kissed color. So you just want to kind of lay it next to your chest and look and see if it's that same depth of color, but just a little bit deeper. And this is just the perfect tone for me. And I love to also use this as an eyeshadow as well. And I just think having your perfect bronzer is such a great go-to product, especially on an everyday basis, because again, you can use this as an eyeshadow on your eyes, and then you'll get a very monochromatic look that's going to look beautiful for any occasion because it's just going to pair very nicely with anything. Of course, we had to talk about blush because blush is something I feel like can be intimidating for a lot of people, especially if you're someone that does not like color. But these are the perfect neutral blushes that, again, are going to enhance your complexion. They're not going to be a standout, scary blush that's going to be a lot of color and a lot of pigment. And the first one I have to mention is this Valentino Eye to Cheek shade. And so this is a dual use blush and shadow. I personally just use it on the cheeks. And this is in the shade number 9. I believe it's called like Poudre, if my French is correct. But this is just a beautiful, it kind of looks like a peachy, salmony tone. So it does have a little bit of pink, it does have a little bit of peach, and it does have a little bit of beige. And it is just the perfect neutral blush. It's also not too pigmented, so you don't need to go in, you can just go in with like a little bit of product and build it up on the cheeks. It has a very, very ever so soft sheen, but there's no shimmered particles or anything like that. You're not going to see shimmer sitting on the skin. And this just gives you a beautiful, healthy glow without it being over the top. This is a very sophisticated color. And again, it's going to give your complexion a little bit of health, a little bit of life without taking over the look. This would be beautiful paired with any lip color or any eye color that you want to pair it with as well. But when I just want that subdued makeup look, this is a color that I reach for all the time. It's very, very gorgeous. Now, if I'm looking for something that is just maybe a little bit more on the matte side, I can get a little bit, it's almost like a deeper shade, I want to say, a little more on the pink side versus that kind of, I want to say, this Valentino shade has a little bit more peach to it. This Gucci blush, this is called the Gucci Cheeks and Eye Powder Luminous Matte Blush in the shade 05 Rosy Beige. So if you can tell, this shade, the Rosy Beige, is a little bit more of a pink tone, and it's a little bit more deep as well. So this is going to give my cheeks just a little bit more life because it is more on that pink side. So I just find it's a little bit more youthful, I want to say. But again, it is very neutral as well. So it's going to give my cheeks just a little bit of color without it being overwhelming. It's not going to take over my look or anything. And again, it's a very sophisticated blush. This just makes me feel good anytime I wear it. And it's so beautiful. Today I did combine these two blushes and wore them on my cheeks. I feel like it's just such a good combination. But these are great neutral tone blushes that are going to work for anyone. And again, are just going to enhance the complexion without it being an obnoxious blush that is like a detectable color. Because sometimes, again, blush can be intimidating because you are adding color to the cheeks. But if you're just looking for something very basic and neutral, these are great options. And then I wanted to mention one more blush because I'm a sucker for blush. And this is the Dior. As you can see, I use this a lot, so it broke when I was traveling. This is the Dior Rouge blush in the shade 459 Charnelle. And this is very similar, again, to these previous blushes. I want to say the formula is a little bit more buildable on the Dior. It's not as pigmented as the other two. And it's a perfect satin finish. And again, it's that perfect peachy brown shade. It doesn't have as much pink as the Dior, but it is very similar to that Valentino blush. Very, very beautiful product. I feel like it's that perfect in-between of a bronzer and a blush shade. So if you're looking for something that's incredibly neutral, that almost just looks like a rosy toned blush or a rosy toned bronzer, this is a great option for you. It pairs well, again, with any look. If you wanted to wear a red lipstick, this would be a great blush to wear. The formula is just very nice and buildable, and it sits on the skin very beautifully. So those are my favorite neutral tone blushes in my collection. The Valentino and Gucci definitely are more of that blurring effect blush, but I love all those beautiful neutral tones, perfect for any occasion. Now let's talk about highlighter. Now I didn't choose a highlighter that has like a neutral tone to it, but I picked a highlighter that is perfect for any occasion, that's something I can rely on again, when I don't want, I feel like highlighter is one of those products you need to be very careful with because it can look very obvious on the complexion. This is a product I rely on when I just want my makeup to be more subdued. I want it to look very natural looking in person. I want my skin to look beautiful in person versus those highlighters that you can detect on the skin that are noticeable, that give you that kind of glow from space, or that you can detect that sheen on your skin. This is going to be that lit from within glow that, again, is suitable for any occasion. I can wear this to breakfast, I can wear this to run errands, and I can wear this for a night out. So this is the Chantecaille Lotus Perfect Blur Glow Powder. This is from the Lotus collection. I've talked about this a million times, but pick it up while you can because as of now, Chantecaille has not said that they're going to release this as a permanent product. And I just love this. Again, this is a great tone. It is on the neutral side. It definitely has like a beigey tone to it with a little bit of a creaminess to it. So it is a lighter shade, but it's not a very detectable powder on the skin. So it's just going to enhance the complexion. It's going to give you a little bit of glow, kind of that lit from within, but it's going to be suitable for any event. So it's never going to look over the top. It's not obnoxious. It really does give your skin just that perfect touch that just gives you that life back to your complexion. I would almost say it's more of a brightening powder than it is a highlighting powder. And for that, it adds that dimension back to your skin, which I just think is very flattering for any time of day, for work, for play, just any time. You can add that brightness and that dimension back to your skin without it looking like a detectable glow. It's just beautiful for an everyday basis. So this is hands down my best neutral tone basic highlighter in my collection. Let's move to the eyes. So I actually have done a video on my favorite neutral eyeshadows, so I can link that down below, but I wanted to go over kind of the ones that I find myself reaching for the most often. And to start with an eyeshadow palette, this is something, again, you've heard me talk about many times. This is the Tom Ford Eye Color Quad Creme Formula in the shade number 36 Tiger Eye. You can see there is a variety of shades here. So we have, it's a quad, so we have 4 shades. We have this really beautiful deeper tone matte, which is just gorgeous. I mostly use it on the lash line, kind of as an eyeliner. I typically don't like to go in with an eyeliner because I find it's harsh. So I use an eyeshadow as an eyeliner, and I get that beautiful definition without that harsh effect that an eyeliner can give. And then we have these beautiful tones here, which are on the more neutral side. And I really enjoy these shimmers because they are such a subtle, soft sheen. They're more on the satin side. There's absolutely no detectable shimmer particles. You don't have any of that glitter, none of that chunkiness. So this is perfect, again, for any occasion. And these tones, they're just perfectly neutral. This tone right here is a little bit on the warmer side. It is a bit of a peachy tone, but because these shimmers are so subtle and buildable, it doesn't really come across as like ultra warm. Like if you can see, it's just a beautiful satin sheen. And these are very creamy powders. So they feel like a cream when you put your fingers into them, but they're kind of that cream to powder formula. So they are more long lasting than a typical cream eyeshadow. These are beginner friendly. These are mature lid friendly. This is my mom's favorite eyeshadow palette. This is just the perfect neutral, boring eyeshadow, I want to say. Maybe you could call it boring, but this is just, these palettes excite me because they're the ones that I use the most in my collection. And I also wanted to talk about a cream eyeshadow stick because on occasions where I just feel more lazy or I just want to put on my makeup and get going, I rely on eyeshadow sticks. And this is actually something I recently picked up, but I adore this color. This is the Bobbi Brown Long Wear Cream Shadow Sticks. And this shade is in the color Golden Amber. I think Bobbi Brown Shadow Sticks have been on the market for such a long time, but she released different shades, and Golden Amber is definitely a newer shade. I think it came out within the past 2 years, but I love this formula because it goes on in a really thin consistency. It is a creamy product, but the beautiful thing about this cream product is it is budge proof. When you put it on your eyes, it's not going anywhere. And there's just that beautiful amber tone. It is called Golden Amber and is definitely more on the warm side, but it's not like an orange toned copper or anything. It is just a beautiful neutral golden tone that I think will suit everyone. And there is shimmer to this, but again, there's none of those glitter chunks. It's not going to look over the top on the eyes. it's just going to look beautiful. So I like to just apply it on the eyes, just use that shadow stick, and then I'll just blend it out with a little bit of a brush, or you could blend it out with your fingers. And once this sets down, it is not moving at all, and it just gives you a beautiful sheen that looks gorgeous. And I think it'll be perfect coming up for those summer months when you just want something one and done that's beautiful, that's basic, and that again is going to look good for any occasion. I also wanted to mention kind of a cream to powder hybrid. So again, this is actually very similar to this Tom Ford Creme Quad. I guess I'm just gravitating more towards those formulas because I think the beautiful thing about cream to powder formulas is that they almost melt into the lid, so they give you that beautiful glossy lid effect, which again, I think is just very beautiful for any occasion because it's not going to look over the top and it's not going to be too dramatic like a sparkly eyeshadow would. So this is, again, newer to me, and this is the M Cosmetics Dewy Eyeshadow, the Cosmic Pearl Dewy Eyeshadow in the shade Wish. I just ordered this on a whim because I've been trying to try out some new, like not super luxury eyeshadows, and this honestly is so beautiful. This is definitely a creamy formula. It almost, I can't even describe the texture. It's almost like a little bit like a bouncy cream shadow. You definitely get a lot of product when you dip your finger into it, but so I would go in carefully with this one, but you get so much pigmentation, but it gives you that really beautiful creamy effect on the eyes where your lids just look very glossy and gorgeous. So it gives you that almost like supermodel glow, I want to say. Very similar to effect to the Bobbi Brown, where it almost looks like you've applied a cream eyeshadow because of how creamy this eyeshadow is. Similar to that cream to powder formula though, because it does dry down to a powder finish, and it's just gorgeous. It's more on, I guess you could say, the metallic side, but it gives you more of a sheen effect where it just looks glossy and wet looking on the eyes, but you do get that intense pigmentation. So this is something where I'll apply it maybe even as an eyeshadow topper to finish off the look. Like if I use this Tom Ford palette, I'll go in over top of with this shadow just to get a little bit more pigmentation, but it's still really neutral and it's not sparkly. You're not going to get that glitter fallout. You're not going to have glitter chunks to this eyeshadow. It's just a beautiful glossy lid effect. And again, this shade is the shade Wish, which is that perfect neutral golden tone. It's going to add some brightness to your look, and I think it just gives you life to your complexion, especially those brighter tones. I just think they help me look a little more youthful and bright-eyed, kind of like a doe-eyed effect, where you just look more awake and gorgeous. So I absolutely love this formula. So I wanted to mention that one. And then this has been a go-to favorite one-and-done eyeshadow shade that I feel like is very underrated. And this is the Bobbi Brown Luxe Eyeshadow Rich Metal in the shade Melting Point. This is so beautiful. This formula is outstanding. It's very similar to the Chantecaille Luminescent eye shades, but it's less expensive. And it's a little bit less metallic than those, I would say. So the Chantecaille Luminescent eye shades do have a little bit of that glitter fleck to them. This one is a little bit more sparkly than the M Cosmetics Cosmic Pearl Dewy Eyeshadow. It definitely has a little bit more of that shimmer particle to it that is more metallic, but it isn't a chunky glitter by any means in comparison to something like Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath. Those are more of those chunkier shimmer shades. But again, this is very finely milled shimmer. So it is more pearly than the M Cosmetics and the Tom Ford, but it's by no means a glitter eyeshadow. This just gives you, again, a beautiful glossy lid effect that makes your eyes look wet and beautiful. And I love this tone. This is the shade Melting Point. So it is a beautiful champagne. It has a little bit of rosy undertones to it. And I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. This is something that I use multiple times per week when I just want my makeup to look really beautiful in person for any occasion. And again, it's that perfect neutral tone that I just feel like is super underrated. I feel like no one talks about these shades, and they're gorgeous. Again, they work really beautifully as an eyeshadow topper to finish off your eye look as well. If you just want something really special to finish off your eyes, try these out. They are gorgeous. And the last product I have to mention is a lipstick, and this is definitely my favorite neutral lipstick that I just find pairs with anything. If I'm really unsure of what lip to pair with a look that I'm creating, I can rely on this lip product because it just suits anything. And it's that perfect tone where it's not like a dead looking nude, because sometimes I think when you're choosing a neutral nude lipstick, you have to be careful because if it's too nude, it can actually dull you down and make you look a little older. So it has to be a nude with enough color that won't make you look dead, but I don't want it to be too deep where it crosses that territory where it starts to look like a bold lip. So this is just my favorite lip color. This is the Merit Signature Lip Lightweight Lipstick in the shade Baby. So this is a nude tone, and you can see it's a little bit deeper than a typical like super nude lipstick. So it gives me enough color that lifts my complexion up, that does give that youthfulness back to my complexion, but it's not too deep again. So we have that perfect in between. And this color is just beautiful. It's a My Lips But Better shade, so it just makes my lips look even better without it overwhelming the look. It just helps to complete the look. And this is just the lip color that I rely on. This formula is also fantastic if you're just looking for a satin lipstick that feels very incredible on the lips. You're not going to feel this lipstick on the lips. It's not going to be that weighty lipstick where you, after maybe an hour, you want to take it off because it just feels dehydrating. And it does feel very comfortable on the lips because it is ultra lightweight. It's just so comfortable, and I love the formula of this. I have actually used up an entire one of these lipsticks, and I have repurchased this one. So that's a repurchase product for me. So that just goes to show how often I use it and how much I rely on it for an any occasion basis. So that is everything for my best neutral nude basic makeup products. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely stay tuned for the Get Ready With Me where I will show these products in action. Please let me know your favorite neutral nude basic makeup products down below. I would love to hear from you because I feel like we'll all have a little bit of different picks that just kind of suit our complexion the best. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it, and I'll see you in my next video.